The old Blackwood Manor loomed large against the night sky, its ancient walls whispering secrets of a bygone era. The moonlight cast an eerie glow, making the shadows dance and flicker as if the mansion itself was alive, breathing with a sinister intent. A shiver ran down my spine as I parked the car a good distance away. The stories I'd heard about this place echoed in my mind, each one more chilling than the last. I couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding as I stepped out of the car. The air thick with an unspoken dread. Even from here it felt wrong. A dark silhouette against the tapestry of stars. The mansion seemed to absorb the light, standing as a stark contrast to the beauty of the night sky. It was as if the house was a void, a place where light dared not enter, a black hole of malevolence. My flashlight beam cut through the darkness, a tiny beacon of courage against the mansion's imposing presence. The light wavered slightly, as if the darkness was trying to swallow it whole. I tightened my grip on the flashlight, determined to push forward, despite the oppressive weight of the shadows. I was here for one reason: to find the hidden documents, to fulfill my father's dying wish. He had spoken of these documents with such urgency, his eyes filled with a mix of fear and hope. I knew I couldn't let him down, no matter how terrifying this place was, no matter how much the darkness seemed to whisper my name. The iron gates groaned open, a mournful sound that echoed in the stillness. It was as if the gates themselves were warning me to turn back, to leave this place and never return. But I couldn't, not now. I had come too far, and the pull of the unknown was too strong. Each step towards the house was a battle against fear, against the stories that clung to the crumbling facade like cobwebs. The ground beneath my feet felt uneven, as if the earth itself was trying to pull me back. But I pressed on, driven by a sense of duty and determination, even as the shadows seemed to reach out for me. I told myself they were just stories. Folklore whispered from generation to generation. Tales meant to scare children and keep them away from places like this. But standing here, in the suffocating darkness, those stories felt terrifyingly real. Each whisper a ghostly breath on my neck. But out here in the suffocating darkness, those stories felt terrifyingly real. Every rustle of leaves, every creak of the old house seemed to confirm the legends. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat a reminder of my own mortality, each sound a harbinger of doom. The air grew colder as I touched the tarnished brass doorknob. It was as though the house was drawing the warmth from my body, leaving me shivering and uncertain. The doorknob felt icy, a stark contrast to the warmth of my hand, as if it were a portal to another world. It was as though the house was drawing the warmth from my body. I could feel the chill seeping into my bones, making it hard to think clearly. But I couldn't turn back now. I had to see this through, no matter the cost. The heavy door creaked open, revealing a cavernous darkness within. The sound echoed through the empty halls, a haunting reminder of the house's long-forgotten past. I hesitated for a moment, the weight of the decision pressing down on me, the darkness seeming to beckon me forward. Taking a deep breath, I stepped inside. The air was thick with dust and the scent of decay. Every step I took seemed to echo, amplifying the silence that surrounded me. I knew that whatever lay ahead, I had to face it head-on, even as the darkness seemed to close in around me. Dust motes danced in the thin beam of my flashlight, swirling like miniature ghosts. They seemed to come alive in the darkness, each particle a tiny reminder of the house's long-forgotten past. The air was heavy with the smell of decay, of time and neglect. It was as if the house itself was exhaling its last breath, a sigh of resignation to its fate. Underneath it all, a faint metallic tang lingered, a smell that sent shivers down my spine. It was the scent of something long forgotten, something that should have remained hidden. Each footstep echoed on the wooden floorboards, the sound amplified in the oppressive silence. The creaking seemed to grow louder with each step, as if the house was warning me to turn back. A sudden cracking sound made me jump. My heart raced as I tried to pinpoint the source of the noise, my mind conjuring up all sorts of terrifying possibilities. I swung my flashlight around, the beam catching fragments of broken glass glinting on the floor. The shards sparkled like sinister stars in the gloom, each one a potential threat. It looked like a picture frame had fallen from the wall, the glass shattering into 1,000 pieces. The frame lay there, a silent testament to the house's former life, now reduced to ruins. My heart hammered against my ribs, fear a cold fist clenching around my throat. I could feel the adrenaline coursing through my veins, urging me to flee, but curiosity held me captive. I moved cautiously through the house, my hand trailing along the wall for guidance. The texture of the peeling wallpaper under my fingers was oddly comforting, a small connection to the past. Wallpaper, once vibrant, now hung in tattered strips like peeling skin. It was a stark reminder of the passage of time, of how everything eventually succumbs to decay. Shadows danced at the edge of my vision, playing tricks on my already frayed nerves. Every flicker of movement seemed to hold a hidden threat, making me question what was real and what was imagined. A floorboard creaked somewhere in the darkness above me, a sound that set my teeth on edge. It was as if the house itself was alive, breathing and shifting in the shadows. I stopped, holding my breath, my senses heightened to the point of pain, straining to hear over the thunderous pounding of my own heart. Each beat echoed in my ears, a relentless drum of fear. Was it just the settling of the old house, or something else? The air felt thick, almost tangible, pressing down on me. A soft whisper, barely audible, sent a chill down my spine. It was like a breath of wind, but there was no breeze. It seemed to come from the shadows themselves, as if the darkness was speaking to me, a sibilant murmur that sent goosebumps erupting across my skin. The sensation was both terrifying and mesmerizing. I whipped around, shining my flashlight into the darkness, hoping to catch a glimpse of whatever was there, but there was nothing there, just shadows, deeper and more menacing than before. The shadows seemed to move, to shift and dance just out of the corner of my eye. There was a presence here. I could feel it. It was as if the house was watching me, waiting for something cold and unseen, watching me, toying with me. The air grew colder and I could see my breath in the dim light. The whispers started again, this time closer, circling me like vultures. They seemed to come from all directions, a cacophony of voices. I wanted to run to escape the suffocating darkness of the house, but my feet felt rooted to the spot. It was as if the house itself was holding me in place, trapping me in its eerie embrace, refusing to let me go. The fear was overwhelming, a suffocating blanket that threatened to consume me. My flashlight flickered, plunging me into momentary darkness. Panic surged through me, a primal fear of the unknown. I shook the flashlight, my breath catching in my throat as the weak beam flickered back to life. I was losing my nerve, letting the house get to me. I pushed onward, deeper into the mansion's dark heart. The whispers followed, growing louder, more insistent. They seemed to be drawing me forward, beckoning me towards something, towards what I didn't want to know. Then I saw it, a fleeting glimpse of movement at the edge of the light. A shadow, darker than the surrounding darkness, detached itself from the wall and began to move towards me. Fear threatened to overwhelm me, but then a childhood memory surfaced, a lifeline in the darkness.
I saw myself, a young girl of 6, chasing after my father through the sun-drenched halls of this very mansion.
It was a happy memory, a time before the shadows crept in. Back then, the house was alive with laughter and light. My father, his eyes twinkling with mischief, would tell me stories of the house's grand past, stories that sent shivers of excitement, not fear, down my spine. He had promised to tell me all the secrets hidden within these walls.
But then everything changed.
My father, always so full of life, grew quiet, haunted by something he refused to name. The laughter died, the light faded, and the shadows grew longer, darker. The whispers intensified, swirling around me like a malevolent wind. The shadowy figure drew closer, its edges solidifying, taking on a vaguely human form. My hand trembled as I gripped the flashlight tighter, my knuckles turning white. I could feel its eyes on me, cold and hungry. The air grew colder, the temperature dropping so rapidly that I could see my breath misting in the air. I was running out of time. I had to find the documents, fulfill my promise to my father before whatever lurked in the shadows claimed me too. With renewed determination, I pressed on, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. I could feel its gaze burning into my back, urging me forward. I knew then that I wasn't alone in the darkness. Something else was here, something ancient and evil. The temperature plummeted, a bone-chilling cold that seemed to seep into my very bones. I rounded a corner, my flashlight beam illuminating a long, narrow hallway. Portraits lined the walls, their eyes seeming to follow my every move. A cold hand brushed against my shoulder and I screamed, whirling around to face my attacker. But there was no one there, just the whispers, closer now, mocking my fear. They seemed to be everywhere, surrounding me, closing in. Panic threatened to consume me, but I fought it back. I couldn't give in. Not now. I had to be strong for my father, for myself. But the shadows were closing in, and the whispers grew louder, more insistent.
The first rays of dawn pierced through the cracks in the boarded-up windows, casting long, eerie shadows across the dusty floor. The mansion stood silently, its secrets locked away once more. The only sound was the gentle whisper of the wind, carrying with it the faintest hint of a scream. No one knew what had happened within those walls during the long, dark hours of the night. No one knew of the terror that had unfolded, of the chilling encounter with the woman in the shadows. The Blackwood Manor kept its secrets close, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to wander through its doors.